Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Wrestle Addict Radio Network.
Hey, what's up, you guys? What is going on, everybody?
What up, fam?
Hey, it's me.
What up, Oozes?
What's up, guys? This is the Monday Night Delight.
Are you looking for a network that brings you all things pro wrestling? Then look no further. Wrestle Addict Radio brings you a varied source of wrestling content.
What's going on, guys? This is Willie T.
My name is Mr. Fretz.
This is your resident Smart Slayer.
Search for Wrestle Addict Radio on all major podcast platforms and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Buzz, guys. My name is Kate Murphy of the Kings of the Ring podcast, and you are listening.
And you're listening.
And you are listening.
And you are listening.
Get ready for a war, because you're listening.
Come join the war each and every week as we fight to keep wrestling real.
What's up, everybody? This is King Ricky Rose, and you are listening to Wrestle Addict Radio.
A game changer. An event, idea, or procedure that affects a significant shift in the current manner of doing or thinking about something. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Changer Podcast. Join me and all of my friends as we look over different topics, ideas, look over different events, popular subjects, not so much popular subjects, even random ideas that you probably wouldn't even think about. As we dive into these things, give our perspectives as well as give our opinions about these perspectives, we give you guys something a little bit more to think about. Why? Because we believe in changing the game. Why? Simple. Because we can. Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be a wild and crazy ride. What is going on, you guys? This is indeed NateFNGreat. This is indeed the Game Changer Podcast. Be sure to use that hashtag #ProTalkWrestling because it is myself, one of the pros of wrestling, here with another pro of wrestling, the one, the only, Mr. Fretz, your friendly neighborhood Canadian. How's it going, good sir?
Oh, it's just going good, eh? Yeah, I gotta get my old hoser accent. Yeah, guys, Canada doesn't have an accent. Stop with it. We love Bob and Doug McKenzie, but we don't have an accent. yes, it is me. It is the sole representation of Canada in Wrestle Addict Radio, other than our fans and good friends, Slack and Danny and Nikki. She is a Canadian in training because, like me, she's a giant Maple Leafs fan, but you're a Yankees fan.
Oh, no.
Evil Empire. You are disqualified. No, okay, if you're a Leaf fan, you're good with me, but Yankees, I'm sorry, Ricky and whoever else might be. Yes. All these jokes aside, it is me, Mr. Fretz, at the legendary JF on Twitter and Instagram, and on Wrestle Addict Radio at _wrestle. My goodness, I've just worked 2 very long night shifts in a row. I am fried. I just had a cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. So I'm wired. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Which is, Nate?
We're going to be talking about Kings of the Rings, the best and the worst of Kings of the Rings. Before we get diving into that, I want to actually talk about a little bit of the weekend that I had this past weekend, if that's all right with a lot of fans, because a lot of people know that there's a lot of indie wrestling going on in Wisconsin. I've been a major fan of the ACW, the all-class wrestling promotion that happens here in Wisconsin. Mainly heads in the Green Bay area, but this past weekend they were actually about a 30-minute drive from me in Merrill, Wisconsin, which they featured a lot of great stars, including 2 former WWE stars as well as Impact stars in Al Snow as well as Mr. Kennedy. Yep, this past weekend he was actually Kennedy instead of Anderson. Waiting for that. Yeah, it was really good to see them. I actually got a book from Al Snow. I got it autographed. I'll probably be reading it and try and do a review of the book before the year ends. We'll see what happens. The night itself was really absolutely amazing, but it also featured probably my second favorite thing to happen at a wrestling show. First one is always going to be headlined by Sadist and Mr. Kennedy, where they call me out while they're in the ring, and Kennedy basically calls me Jericho because I was wearing like Jericho attire, and Sadist just goes, "Wait, no, that's not Jericho, that's Nate." And Kennedy just goes, "Nate? That's like the worst name in the English language."
I'm Nate, you idiot.
It's it's either that or Keith, and literally I was like, okay, all's forgiven for that. But the second thing that happened was a wrestler. I got to give him a shout out. Salem Crane. He comes out and he puts on a really good matchup with the local dad. Yes, I said dad, D-A-D, but I'm stuck at the point of just calling him dad, like Bobby from King of the Hill. It's like, I'm okay, Dad. It's stuck with me. I'm sorry for anybody that gets annoyed by that, but
I want some fruit pies, Dad. Yeah, speaking of Bobby Hill, when I was a kid, everyone called me Bobby Hill.
Really?
I look exactly. I'm short, pudgy, socially awkward, very, very weird, into comedy. I'm Bobby Hill.
Hashtag Fretz is Bobby Hill.
I will punch you through this screen, dude.
Wow, you were taking lessons from my co-host Max Beatty, Agent Cooper. Check him out on his Facebook and his Twitter. Little cheap plug, but no, it's crazy because a lot of times he'll actually just do like all these random things. Like I will, punch into your soul and tear out every intestine that you have. Just to
He's so graphic.
He is graphic, but you know something? It's awesome. Again, guys, check him out. He's known as Agent Cooper on YouTube. Does a lot of horror movie stuff. It's really awesome. And he's also at Agent Blocked on Twitter because his first account got blocked because he decided to go a little too far. So let's just say that this is a blessing for him that he gets a second chance on Twitter. He learned his lesson. He's not going to go far. We're just going to leave it at that. But getting back to the story that I was saying was that he actually calls me over because he has his jacket perched up on the turnbuckle. So he calls me over. He has me grab it. And everybody's just saying, "Oh, throw it down, throw it down, throw it on the ground." Salem Crane has his hand out to basically get his jacket. I toss it down, and the crowd just goes nuts. And then to add insult to injury, I just took my foot and just stepped on it, smeared it, kind of like a cigarette, and his head is just down like, what the... And to add insult to injury, and just for a lot of marks, remember when Asuka used to do that deal where in NXT, where she would always go up to people, give them a nice little pat on the head? Yeah, I did that. I did that. And I walked away with like the biggest strut and just had fun. And then he just picks up his jacket. He looks at me. He just says, "I'm going to go home now." It's just... Oh, my God. It was just... Good. I did get him good. It was one of those nights where I felt like myself and a couple other friends, we had to really try to get the people behind it. But once people got into it, they started really becoming fans and really just enjoying it. I think the first couple of matches, people were just like, okay, But as soon as, night got onward, it definitely heated up quite a bit. The wrestlers got more interactive. Everybody was just having more fun. I will say this. This is a shout out to my friends Chris and Nikki, who were at the show. Remember, inverted atomic drop, front door. The regular atomic drop, back door. I'm literally calling that a move whenever somebody does that. It's like, the Shawn Michaels inverted atomic drop, but then they do the regular atomic drop to the butt. So it's got somebody actually did that during a match. I said front door, back door. So that needs to be a thing. If somebody on commentary starts doing that, I will literally watch their show just for more commentary like that. But I'm sorry, that was just a gem that I had, and I loved it. But enough about that. Let's talk about something that, of course, a lot of people remember in the month of June, way long time ago. And this is back when, Fretz and I were young kids and we didn't have all the medical issues that we had. Back when we had enjoyment in wrestling, and that, of course, being the prestigious King of the Ring. For a lot of people that don't know what that is, it is usually... actually, it started off as a house show. It started off as a house show where they just had something where it got people a little bit more involved, and you definitely saw One night, one person will just be like, oh, okay, we're wrestling as a regular person. The next night, they'll be coming out, they'll be wearing this crown, they'll be wearing this robe, and they're like, oh, they are the King of Kings. Ooh, yeah, dig it. Yep, we're talking about him. We are talking about him. Don't worry, people. He is on the list.
This is an audio podcast, Nate.
Yeah, right?
The guy on my shirt, the cup of coffee, the Macho King.
But yeah, honestly, let's start with them. Obviously, when we talk about Kings of the Rings, obviously it turned into a one-night tournament, and then it turned into a regular event that went on until 2002. But then they sporadically brought it back every now and again, which I wish we would have gotten more. I really do. But there's at least one gem in the King of the Rings recent memories that I enjoyed. It's 50-50, but we'll get to that when we do. But yeah, let's start off talking about some of the Kings of the Rings. First one that was actually on this list, I want to bring this on because he is the first inaugural King of the Ring, the Mr. Don Morocco. He was the first one who won it back in 1985. Got the chance to at least understand what he did. From what I saw, he won the prestige of King of the Ring, defeating the Iron Sheik, which of course a lot of people remember that guy. Number one. Remember that too, but just him being the most bastardly heel you can imagine, just spitting out at people and just chewing them out, especially nowadays on Twitter. But that being said, Don Morocco, Hall of Famer, definitely deserved to be the first ever King of the Ring, and he still had a pretty good career going forward after that.
Yeah, that he did, yeah. I actually didn't jot down the house show Kings of the Ring. I was ready to hop right into the Wayback Machine. To be honest with you.
Well, I mean, there were, like you said, some of the kings that we talk about. They definitely were part of the house show deals, but I think it wasn't until I want to say 91 or 93 was when they started. 93, thank you. Which is where,
pay-per-view.
Yep, when they started saying, "Hey, let's make this into a pay-per-view." It's like, okay. So if we haven't gotten a chance to talk, I'll talk about I think at least one more on here. No, I got to talk about two more because the second King of the Ring was Harley Race. Of course, a lot of people remember him, legendary. One of the reasons why Triple H got into wrestling today, he was King Harley Race. Honestly, I think it fit him to a T. It was really cool to see that. And the other person we have on here is somebody who never got the chance to win the WWE Championship. Heck, honestly, he was so good, he had to make his own title. 1988, Ted DiBiase Sr. He won the King of the Ring.
And I think the man who unseated him was the one wrestler that you never want to mess with, Haku.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
King Haku, WrestleMania 5, and Hercules squashed him in like 2 minutes.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. It's just absolutely amazing. I think honestly, even though we never got to see Ted DiBiase as WWE champion, him still being able to be called a King of the Ring is awesome. And considering the fact that he definitely was one of those dastardly guys who basically bought his way into the finals. I think it was he paid off somebody in the semifinals, and that's how he got to the final matchup, and he defeated Randy Savage to be the King of the Ring in 1988. But honestly, we can't go that far. Let's start off this list with a bang, talking about himself, Randy Macho Man Savage, or the Macho King. Oh my Lord.
Royalty, cup of cuff. I don't know any of his Macho King promos.
I will say this, that I think that Macho King, Randy Savage, was the first character to actually take that gimmick from King of the Ring, and he literally made it into something that a lot of people will never forget. He had servants, he had his own entrance that basically had him being carried to the ring. Trust me, it was better than a future King of the Ring, which we will talk about definitely when we talk about worst. But we also had Queen Sherry, Sensational Sherry. She was also a part of the Macho King regime, and it was awesome. They were so well put together, and they just absolutely worked off each other so well. to the point where we actually got a great matchup and a great moment at WrestleMania. I want to say might have been WrestleMania 7? It was 7, yeah.
7.
Which had Macho Man be soundly defeated by the Ultimate Warrior in a retirement match. And Sherry, she literally realized that, oh, I'm no longer a queen. I'm no longer royalty. I'm just going to beat this guy up because now he's a peasant. Of course, this draws out the lovely Miss Elizabeth. She comes in, throws Sherry out, which, first of all, I think a lot of people are not expecting Miss Elizabeth to get physical at all. And the way that she just throws Sherry out of the ring, it's like, whoa! I think we found more reason to love Miss Elizabeth. But, of course, we have that beautiful moment where she's smiling, she's teary-eyed. Macho Man is just completely flabbergasted, but he realizes this is who he needs to be with. We see the embrace, we see the fans just teary-eyed, crying. Oh my gosh, what a woman, what a man. Macho King is definitely, honestly, if not the best, one of the top 5 best Kings of the Rings of all time.
Absolutely. That was such an amazing moment. That was one of the many wrestling tapes that I rented constantly from, of all places, my local hardware store that rented wrestling tapes, every horror movie ever made, and a huge collection of pornography.
All that
new meaning to the term hardware.
Oh, I think we were going to say new meaning to the word hardcore.
Oh,
he's hardcore. He's hardcore.
Yeah, that's like the commentary in Sunny. I'm not going there. Nope.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
By the way, I never even bothered to watch that. That's just disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some points where these just don't even get like remotely arousing. It's just more like, I'm sad. That's kind of what I'm seeing with Sunny.
View did a hilarious review of, coincidentally, their 69th episode, and it's just JV. Like there's a line in there with V1. Like there's Jay and 2 guys named Steve, and V1 is just he's watching it with his wife in bed, and she's just like, after it's just like she's rolled over. It's just like just finish watching and don't fucking touch me.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Mrs. V1 for the win. If anyone listens to, watch it. OSW Review is a video podcast, and they have an annual awards show. There is an ice cream bar in the UK called a Nogger. Oh, and they name their Oscar statues after them every year. It's like the Slammies, the Golden Noggers. People in Britain, who's that? Martin, Glenn, you guys will get that. Us Canadians and Yanks, nah, not a chance. We don't see them up here. Anyways, can we delve into the Wayback Machine for 1993?
By all means, good sir.
So, a little bit of Wayne's World. It is June of 1993, and in theaters, Nate, oh my god, we have Sleepless in Seattle, Ooh. The Firm, Last Action Hero, Dennis the Menace, and this, obscure movie called Jurassic Park.
Wow.
One of the first movies I ever watched in theaters. I was 9 years old. In songs topping the charts is Informer by Snow, That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson, and for the entirety of 1993, the song that will never die, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. It will never die. Long after, I think she's passed on actually, long after she's dead. Now, in TV, I didn't find a lot for June of 1993, but for 1993 as a whole, some of the things that premiered include Monday Night Raw, Beavis and Butthead, one of my personal favorites as a child, Power Rangers, and Animaniacs. And did you guys get the Got Milk commercials in the States?
We did, actually.
Okay, so those were starting to air in Canada as well as these drink milk commercials set to Ode to Joy. And I discovered them around the time Triple H started using "Ode to Joy" as a wrestling theme, so I always connected Triple H to the drink bill. They were Canadian dairy commercials. Some of you, Slack, you'll get that one. In video games, in June of 1993, I'm gonna volley this one up to you and see if you can get this. This Nintendo property is being remade and being released this fall. It is a handheld game, and it's going to be on the Switch in September. Did you watch E3?
I did not get a chance to watch E3. But as soon as you said Nintendo, I'm thinking, okay, well, that rules out Sonic, thank God.
There's a Sonic game in here, too.
Oh,
but
crap.
It's one of my personal favorite games of all time, Link's Awakening.
Oh, really?
Came out around June of 93, but then throughout, in March we had Kirby's Adventure, in July we'd have Super Mario All-Stars, in August we'd have Secret of Mana, in November a game that I wanted for Christmas so bad that when I actually got it, I ripped it open and ran right to my rec room to play it. Sonic Spinball.
Man.
I was nine. In November we had the better iteration of Aladdin on Sega Genesis, and in December, a game that, I'm going to steal this phrase because it's the name of the show, that changed the game, Doom.
Well, I mean, it's better than the movie, so fair enough.
I've never seen it, never will. So yeah, 93, that was a hell of a time to be 9 years old, to be a kid. And speaking of, aforementioned health problems, I think I was starting to develop my scoliosis around this time, because tomorrow is the 20-year anniversary of my spinal fusion surgery. Had metal fused back there because my spine was curved. I feel the effects today. I'm hurt. I'm usually hurting, but it's just, well, as one character says in Trailer Park Boys, up and away she goes.
Well, I will say this, that 20 years after, you still seem to be going very strong. So for those of you that would like to take this stuff that we like to do full circle, take a shot for Fretz's good health. Definitely good to see that you're doing well, my friend. But now, getting to what we were talking about, you mentioned 1993. Wasn't there also a specific superstar that was a part of a certain event that happened in 1993? I mean, I think that he was a guy who had like these shades, and he had a leather jacket. He had his arms kind of going up and down like that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. It's like we're going to be going through kind of the best and maybe a bit of the worst of each year of the King of the Ring pay-per-views sequentially. So maybe just consider this a compressed mini review of all of them, even though, spoiler alert, next week we're reviewing 99, so maybe we won't talk about that. Yes, we are referring to my fellow Canadian, one of my personal favorites, probably second of all time underneath Owen Hart, is Bret the Hitman Hart, who actually won a King of the Ring in 1991. So he's a two-time winner.
Keep that in mind, he's a two-time king.
The Burger King. And speaking of two-time King of the Ring winners, if anyone listened to my rebooking of the 1995 King of the Ring, I have Owen Hart winning that one, being a two-time King of the Ring winner, two-time Slammy Award winner. Just imagine the memes, imagine the things. So 93, there wasn't a lot other than the Bret versus Perfect and Bret versus Bigelow match. There wasn't a lot to write home about in the 93 King of the Ring. I mean, we did have a quote-unquote controversial finish to the WWE title match between Yokozuna and Hulk Hogan, who was on his way out and on his way to WCW.
Wrestling.
It was Harvey Whippleman dressed up as a Japanese cameraman setting up the flashbang, the fireball thing. And then Yokozuna pressed A and B in No Mercy and won with a leg drop.
Lovely. Just awesome. Oh, boy. Well, I think that's probably going to be one of those things that's going to be on our... That's probably going to be a show I'm going to be very interested in seeing later on, but that's probably going to be a match that's going to be hard to go through. Speaking of Owen Hart, let's actually talk about the fact that 94, Owen Hart won King of the Ring, last defeating Reza Ramon. So
that was I actually have. Oh, if I can reach. Hey, here's the VHS of it. The cover, because it's in my VCR. Yes, I still use a VCR in 2019. I'm 35. Shut up.
He says VCR or VHS, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember that. Kids nowadays are like, what? What's that?
Yeah, we, like everyone else, we just find downloads of it or find full files of it on Dailymotion. So they're all out there.
Yeah.
But 94, I mean, we had one of the best short matches of all time with Owen Hart and the 1-2-3 Kid. It was maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but it was just constant bang, 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 spot, sharpshooter, over.
Dang.
Because the Kid was he was selling some injuries. I think his quarterfinal match was against Jeff Jarrett. That's JEFFJARRETT, Slapnuts. He wrestled Jarrett and kind of upset him 1-2-3 Kid style, and Jarrett just pile drived him a bunch of times and just beat the crap out of him. And the Kid was just and his opponent from Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 210 pounds, and it's that wasn't Howard Finkel. It was the other guy that was doing that match. Who was the other guy that was doing the ring announcing during WrestleMania 10 before Finkel came in? He had a voice that was like, "This is Cy Sperling." I liked that guy a lot. Anyways, it wasn't Tony Chimmel. This was one of the greater pay-per-views of the new generation era, despite the fact we had a man named Art Donovan on commentary. Literally every time someone came out in the ring, he was just like, "Oh, how much does this guy weigh? Oh, how much does this guy weigh?" Especially when you see Mabel, who was 600 pounds. It's "Oh, how much does this guy weigh? He can't wrestle that guy. That's not fair." It's he was wrestling IRS, and he's double IRS's weight. So if this was the UFC, I mean, current day UFC, not like the former UFC, from where you can be like Rey Mysterio going up against Chemo, who is a 600 pounds sumo wrestler. Yeah, he's just going on and on and on about it. This had one of the first matches between Bret Hart and Diesel, who always put on a good match, a good technical versus big man match. Bret Hart can make anyone look good, because Kevin Nash in the ring, ugh. Unfortunately, though, this match was headlined by Roddy Piper and Jerry the King Lawler. Don't watch this match, folks. My God.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh.
Two legends of the wrestling industry. It did not mesh well. How this match closed out the show is beyond me. I mean, you could have at least closed it out with Bret Hart versus Diesel, or the coronation of Owen Hart. I am now known as the King of Hearts. And we saw a return during this as well, didn't we, Nate? From the extended Hart family.
Oh, that's right, we did. That would be, would it possibly be somebody that wrestling fans might go absolutely bananas for during this time?
Well, maybe not bananas, but he would get a very good nostalgia pop. If he came out, today, he'd get it. He's no longer with us. He'd get a good nostalgia pop. That would be the brother-in-law of Bret and Owen Hart, the Anvil. That's another Ted DiBiase laugh. Damn it, I can't do the Anvil laugh. Anyways, Jim Neidhart. But what's weird is that he came out during the Bret Hart and Diesel match and attacked Diesel, giving him a DQ win and not a title win, because this was Intercontinental Champion versus WWE Champion with only Bret Hart's title on the line. So you think, this is weird. And then Neidhart comes out during the finals of Razor Ramon and Owen Hart, and he helps Owen Hart start to connect the dots because of what we see at SummerSlam 94 with the cage match and the title feud. He was just kind of puppeteering both sides of the family and kind of being that one shit disturbing cousin who comes in between others.
Yeah. Well, all right. So, all I'm going to say about 95 is...
it was canceled. Didn't happen.
Yeah, there's just one dude by the... You know what? No. No. Too many horrible memories. That SummerSlam match sucked. No.
Okay, I'll say one thing.
What?
The MVP of this show is someone who wrestled, like, I think 3 or 4 times, and you wouldn't put this man under an MVP anything, and that's Savio Vega, who was recently unmasked and recently stopped wrestling as Quang. Yes, that was a gimmick that existed. Quang versus Adam Bomb on All-American Wrestling on Superstars, 12 noon. Oh, boy. Yeah, he wrestled like 3 or 4 times. Like, he defeated IRS, and then I think, like, the Roadie. And he looked pretty good. I mean, Savio was not a bad performer. But then you go up against Mabel, who, like, because another match went to a time limit draw or something, Mabel wrestled, like, 1 or 2 times, and then he's king of the ring. And the Philly crowd, shout out to Scott Rand, who was, I wouldn't have put it past him to be there, because I think he's older than both of us. The Philly crowd, this is when you hear ECW chants during the coronation, and then at one point in time, Mabel just gets pelted right in the face with a water bottle when he's sitting on the throne. And the ECW, and McMahon's like, oh, listen to this! Yeah, this is before McMahon got his Mr. McMahon voice. He sounded a bit more like this, a little bit more over the top. Oh, what a maneuver! 1, 2, oh, no, it's not it. That hurts. Yeah, 95 was canceled. Listen to my rebooking of it on Fretzlemania on Anchor. Cheap plug. Sorry, Russell Addict Radio. Yeah, that's my side project. But 96.
Ooh,
history.
96. This is where it gets really good, ladies and gentlemen. So let's kind of build this up a little bit. So the finalists that took place here, we had Jake the Snake Roberts in the finals. He defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Who the hell is that guy? I don't know. He defeated Justin Bradshaw, as well as by disqualification, but still a victory nonetheless, by Big Van Vader. And we had Stone Cold Steve Austin defeating Bob Holly, Savio Vega, who we are definitely going to be praising a lot because it's Savio Vega, damn it, and Mark Merrow, which actually was a bit of a surprise to me. But the finals, like I said, is Jake the Snake versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And honestly, you could not do this any better. The match itself, I think, is just a bit hard for me to watch. I just remember them incorporating the whole storyline about Jake going through a hard time, going through everything. It's just, it's rough. But Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Jake the Snake Roberts with a stunner, 1, 2, 3. He's the new king of the ring. And we had, you might recognize the guy, one of the Freebirds, Bad Street Atlanta GA, Michael Hayes, interviewing Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he's basically just, oh my gosh, that's just so weird seeing him in that interviewing deal. But at the same time, I kind of want to see him do more that kind of stuff. If we get like a Bad Street like talk show with Michael Hayes, that'd be kind of cool. But this is the infamous deal where Stone Cold Steve Austin he pawned the phrase of 316. The Austin 316 says, "I just whooped your ass."
You sit there, you thump your Bible, and it doesn't get you anywhere. I'm a Christian, and it's like that was kind of rough to say in here, but to each their own. I'm not going to preach at y'all here, but it's like, that was I got an Austin 316 shirt as a house show. I think I mentioned either on here or on one of the podcasts through Spreaker before we joined Wrestle Addict Radio, and it was when I saw Owen Hart wrestle live. I bought the Austin 316 shirt, and then, that week I wore it to... If anyone out there knows what Awana is, it's like a church, kind of like a church group, Bible memorization, kind of like church Boy Scouts without all the camping, essentially. I went to Ivana that week with my Austin 316 shirt and was chastised by my youth leaders. I wore it to school, and they were like, this was 1997, and I was in like 8th grade, and like even my teachers were like, should you be wearing that at school? Well, I think they were more worried about the skull on the back instead of the 316.
Right.
This was back when we just stopped reading verses from the Bible during the morning announcements in public school. They're like, please, it's like, here's something from the Beatitudes in Matthew. It's like, blessed are the meek, and then you'd get weird ones. Like, I don't think they ever read some of the weird stories from the Old Testament, which in kindergarten to grade 8 kids hearing. I don't know. Moving on. It was. Yeah. I got a lot of flack for wearing it, but my friends were just like, "You didn't go to a house show." I'm like, T-shirt here. Some of my friends were kind of jealous because you couldn't find WWE merchandise anywhere. I mean, we could get like a cheap, like knockoff version of a Stone Cold beer shirt at Kmart for $15, but that's it.
Right.
96. It was that, and there was. We're forgetting to mention here, but there was a certain former King of the Ring on commentary during this show.
Really?
Yeah, Owen Hart joined the commentary desk for this show, and he was just like, I think he was hurt or something, but everything. This was like the same pay-per-view where Ahmed Johnson won the Intercontinental title. I think he was the first African American Intercontinental champion, if I'm not mistaken. We had an amazing match between Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog in their feud. And Owen Hart's on commentary the whole time, and when Jake Roberts was coming out, it was just like, he is 61 years old, he is washed up, and just going on, and Jake Roberts having that born-again Christian former alcoholic gimmick. And Owen Hart, he's ragging on everyone, and then when Bulldog's like, yeah, Davey, yeah, go Bulldog for WWE champion, HBK is a pervert, because you had, Diana Smith, his ex-wife, into the mix of this, and Shawn Michaels being a bit more towards Diana, and I don't like bringing family into non-wrestling family into wrestling, like when HBK's wife got involved in the Jericho feud.
No, I can understand that. I definitely can understand that. But now here's something that a lot of people will definitely know as we go into 97, is that Stone Cold was not originally slated to win the 96 King of the Ring. A lot of people might remember the fact that it was supposed to be the 97 winner, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But
for Canadian listeners, drink milk, love life, drink milk, love life. Yeah, everyone down there, like the rest of the WrestleAddict radio folks, are just gonna be like, "What the hell, Fretz?" Slack, hit me up. You'll get this.
I think that with this show, there's a lot of moments where people are be like, "What the fuck?" I guarantee you, there's at least one or two people that are probably scratching their heads about that whole Disney logic with wrestling. But check out our first episode on WrestleAddict Radio if you don't know what I'm talking about, and let me know.
This far.
So we go into 97, and of course, during 96, we had the infamous curtain call where, after a house show had taken place, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Diesel, and Triple H, they all came out and they did a whole deal where they broke kayfabe, they're hugging each other. It's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall's last night in WWF, and as punishment, Hunter Hearst Helmsley lost his push to be King of the Ring because they couldn't punish Shawn because he was the champion, couldn't punish Scott Hall or Diesel because they're leaving, so it's like, well, ipso facto, Triple H. So they postponed that to 97. I will say this, all through, I'm entertained with the Helmsley deal because originally they were trying so hard to get him to wear like the cloak and the crown and stuff like that, but every single time they tried to, he was always beaten up. I think it was either Mankind or somebody like that. And I remember he actually did an interview where he talked about that, and somebody went up to him one day and just like, "You're not going to wear this crown and cape, are you?" He's like, "No, I'm definitely not." It's like, you know what?
I am the king of the kings.
Yeah, sure. He'll come out in WrestleMania.
Sorry.
He comes out in WrestleMania 22 with like the Barbarian deal. That's one thing, but to come in like the whole crown and cape deal, no, that's taking it too far. 97, no, you can't look cool doing that. Well, I mean, to be fair, we did have one of the biggest infamous angles happen later on during the road, but that's not what we're here to talk about. That could be a whole different podcast we could talk about. I will say this: the one thing I did like about this event here was the Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin matchup, which unfortunately a lot of people didn't like the finish. But still, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, these guys hate each other. They put on a really good matchup. You couldn't really see it going any other way, honestly, because both these guys were probably getting on that same level of popularity. And of course, we get the big payoff when we reach WrestleMania 14, but that's later on down the road. And Mr. Fretz is giving me the one finger up, so there's something he might want to add to this.
I was going to mention, they were the tag team champions.
Oh shit, that's right, they were.
They just beat Owen and the Bulldog had a title reign seemingly forever, and then on Raw, I think maybe the week or two before, it was just like, I'll take on the entire. I can't do impersonations, guys. Bear with me. God, I'm fixing to take on the entire Hart Foundation by myself. And Shawn Michaels. Well, look at that. He found his smile. This was when he came back from. I lost my smile. Yeah, you didn't want to job to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13, you troglodyte. I'm not bitter about that at all. I'm not mad. Anyways, yeah, they were the tag team champions, and this is one of two people Steve Austin would hold the tag team titles with in 97, because I think either Owen and the Bulldog won them back, and then Shawn Michaels went and he was either being injured or he was maybe he lost his smile in customs again or something like that, because he didn't wrestle much after this until about, I want to say, like Ground Zero in your house in September, or when he started feuding with The Undertaker that year. They were the champs, and yeah, it was kind of, we never saw the tag team champions fight before. I mean, I think the tag team champions main evented WrestleMania 1 year against each other. Was that Cena and Michaels? Were they the champs?
Yeah, you're right. That did happen.
Yeah, that was like, they didn't come out with the titles. It's like, oh, here come the tag team champions. Where's their titles? I mean, was it in John Cena's gangster car? Was it under CM Punk's tux?
Oh no,
who knows?
No, I think that was during Fort Field. That was where Cena just had the really, really fast car that went through broken glass. Oh, gasp! It's supposed to be cool. No, it
sounds like someone else did it before.
This is true. Oh my gosh. So we got to continue on from this because we don't want to take up too much time. But 98, which, oh my god. Okay. King of the Ring for this was Ken Shamrock defeating The Rock by submission. Oh god, they could have gone so far with Ken Shamrock during this year. But honestly, that got overshadowed immensely. And no, this is the crazy part. I'm looking at the match lineup. Ken Shamrock defeats The Rock. This is match number 7. Match 8, the Hell in the Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind. Literally, match of the night right there. Just, oh my god. To this day, we're still cringing at it. We're still looking at it like, oh my god, this man literally has no respect for his body. He has no respect for his soul. What are you doing, Foley? Why do you do these things? Just absolutely phenomenal matchup. And the main event was, of course, Kane versus Austin in the first ever First Blood match, to which we saw Stone Cold lost. And, okay, he won the title a day later. But you know something? I don't think the Big Red Machine likes to really talk about that title run because that's rough. Anyway, but yeah, 98 one is not too bad. Not too bad, honestly.
And the undercard, it had some wrestlers that would be big deals in the coming years. I mean, I believe, I don't don't know if Bradshaw was in the undercard of this match, but I think he was tagging with. No, there was one match where I think he tagged with Taka Michinoku against Kai and Tai, but I think this was the Headbangers and Taka against Kai and Tai with Yamaguchi-san and Men's Teo, Dick Togo, and Funaki, SmackDown #1 announcer. I'm trying to think of what else is in the undercard. I don't have my phone or the rest of it in front of me, but I don't know if Bradshaw was there. But this had Dan Severn.
It did have Dan Severn. The Rock defeated Dan Severn in a semifinal matchup.
Here's use of the chest protector. Thanks, D'Lo.
Oh, you know something actually that's kind of crazy is that we would actually get a dawn of what would be one of the famous tag teams in WWF history. But during the time, they were actually known as Too Much instead of...
Oh, the Head and Shoulders. Alex Nolan Head against Too Much with Jerry Lawler as the ref. Folks, if you remember this, there was a thing where Al Snow had his mannequin head, and Brian Christopher pinned Head with a Head and Shoulders bottle of shampoo.
Jesus.
Oh, that's so fucking bad.
Oh, man.
Oh, but we had everyone in here that was on the cusp of greatness, like The Rock and Triple H in the undercard with the Nation and DX. Within a year's time, in '99, which we're not going to spend much time on because we're talking about it next time.
Yep.
The Rock and Triple H were at the top of the card in King of the Ring '99 and King of the Ring 2000. And 2001, they both weren't there, but they were already just up in the upper echelon. We had just I still watch '98 occasionally, and still to this day, that Hell in the Cell, this makes my back cringe. And yeah, just how hot the attitude. Yes, I'm gonna say Attitude Era guy. I was obsessed at this point. I was 98. I would have been 14. This was the locker talk. This was everyone was talking about the next day. And then there was a thing with Sable where they were McMahon's in the ring and with Sable, Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson gives her a nice little pat on the bum, and then you get Sable just leans back and right in Pat's face. Just that was a shoot slap. And I think Pat he wanted it. He's like, I can't do a French Canadian accent because I'll just piss all those people off. And he's just just give me a good slap, Sable. It's okay, I can take it. I'm the first Intercontinental Champion. I won at a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, apparently.
Right. Well, it's funny that you talk about Pat Patterson. Since we're going to kind of mosey on over 99, all we're going to say is that the King is a bit of an ass. Anyway, we go into the 2000 one, and honestly, what could we say more about the 2000 King of the Ring than, let's see, Angle wins, lulls. That's all I really need to say.
I loved this pay-per-view. Even though there was a lot of shit in this pay-per-view, literally, because you had a tag team titles dumpster match with X-Pac and Kane X-Pac and Road Dogg against the Dudley Boys. A 6-man tag, and the winner of the pin gets the WWE title.
Oh, but let's talk about the crown jewel. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying that.
I'm sorry.
But this is one of the best ways to describe it. That being that hardcore evening gown matchup for the hardcore title, which featured Mr. Pat Patterson, our first ever Intercontinental Champion, against Gerald Briscoe. Literally, it's one of those things where it's I have no problem with transgenders and stuff like that, but I'd be offended for them because of this matchup. Thank the Lord that Crash Holly intervened in this and saved the Hardcore Championship. Oh my gosh.
I adored Crash Holly. It's he was another guy people thought I resembled when I was a kid. So 2000, yeah, I was 16. And they're hey, Fretz, you look like Crash Holly. It's yeah, I look like Drew Carey too. Make up your mind.
Make up your minds, damn it.
We had, Crash Holly saved, he got he got to the semifinals against Kurt Angle. Because Crash had a upset victory over Bull Buchanan. Like, just look at this man in this match. He is huge and had like one of the best entrance teams of all time, which if you listen to the Attitude Era podcast, Kevin Mahan and Billy Keeble, those boys, they can do like a better remix of it. Just go up and look up Bull Buchanan's theme. You'll thank me later. Yeah, but a 6-man tag with the winner of their pinfall getting a WWE title, that makes as much sense as multiple 2 out of 3 falls tag matches.
Yeah, but I think that during the time, people just wanted to see Triple H lose the title, so it was one of those things where it's like, hey, at least it's not Triple H. It's like, well, it's The Rock. Totally okay with this. Totally okay with this. They would have also been okay with...
They played hot potato with it.
They did, and it was kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Let's go into 2001, WWE's best year because of reasons. Again, Jesus, back-to-back, Kurt Angle headlines this show. He has 3
times.
Yeah, he has the final match between him and Edge for the King of the Ring, which Edge won, and then he goes into a brutal I'm going to call it a shoot street fight. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
You look at how brutal the spots get from Shane McMahon getting dumped on his head so many times from a belly to belly or from a suplex, getting thrown through that stage area. My God, just absolutely brutal. And then that super angle slam from the top, just wow.
Yikes.
This was back when we could tolerate Shane McMahon. We had sympathy for him. Now we're just like,
This is when we loved him because he had WCW.
This is also true. He needed WCW to get over.
Fuck it up.
Oh my God!
But there's another podcast, man. The Invasion.
Oh my gosh!
But I gotta talk about something else in here.
Okay.
Here's a fun thing. Well, with Shane McMahon, he helped. No, it was Edge Shane McMahon helped Kurt Angle win his semifinal match against, I think it was Christian. Because we would have had, Edge and Christian explode for the finals, which would have been fine. But, and then handing out a King of the Ring trophy that looked like the Stanley Cup. Congratulations, St. Louis Blues. Thank you. On behalf of Leaf Nation for beating Boston. Yes, I'm happy about that. Oh, cheap plug, Toronto Raptors, we the North, in your face, non-Raptors fans. Because Edge is from the Toronto area. He's from Orangeville. That's like a stone's throw from the sticks. So, anyways, Shane McMahon helped because he's like, you want Kurt Angle to be more tired and more not ready for their street fight. But we also had the Diamond Dallas Page Stalker Angle.
I think
Belcher there.
Less is more when it comes to that. Less is more. Just we're moving on from that.
Yeah. There's a lot of good in the next one, though. Underrated in 2002.
That's right. The final King of the Ring pay-per-view, which was in 2002. And Fretz is right. There was a lot of really good matches on here. Headlined by a King of the Ring deal where the winner would face the Undisputed Champion at SummerSlam, but we would not get that result until the following month at Vengeance, but we still got a pretty good matchup in the main event. We had an awesome matchup between Rob Van Dam and Chris Jericho. Had a pretty good match between Brock and Test. I think this is where some people are realizing, oh shit, Test can still go. It's like, yeah, he can. Jamie Noble began his, one of his Cruiserweight title runs by being the Hurricane. We got Ric Flair versus Eddie Guerrero. Holy crap! Oh my gosh! And oh my god! For the third year in a row, Kurt Angle headlining by beating Hollywood Hogan not by pinfall, not the 1, 2, 3. He made him tap out.
Take that, Hogan. and of course, Angle was fresh off of losing his hair, although God was beating him to it for years beforehand. He was wearing like that amateur wrestling helmet with the wig. It actually looked like a lot like your hair, Nate.
Hey, no, don't give away my secret, damn it.
Sorry, folks.
It's whatever. Honestly, there's probably some people who are like, yeah, Fretz, stick it to the man. It's like, shut up, people. We got, we of course got the final, and we also...
We're good to a shoot, you know?
We also got the finals between Rob Van Dam and Brock Lesnar. Lesnar wins. We get his match with Rock at SummerSlam, which was great. Yeah, like you said, very fast, underrated card when it came to this final King of the Ring event. My God. Just, again, I'm looking at this card again. I'm thinking I might even want to just talk about this event because, I mean, you got Molly Holly versus Trish Stratus. Again, Angle and Hogan, Flair and Eddie. The Cruiserweight title match looked really awesome. I mean, other than the first match, no, that was a house show match. Never mind. I was talking about the Hardy Boys and Steve versus Raven, Steven Richards. I'm like, oh, goody. Let's talk about that feud again. Oh, let's not say we did. Less is more. But now we get into the Final Four. We're just about wrapped up with this spot here, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about the King of the Ring matches that were actually featured on television. The finals of the 2006 happened at Judgment Day. It was a SmackDown exclusive deal. But let's talk about some of the tournament deals that we had in here. We had Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton, Matt Hardy versus Booker T, Finlay event versus Benoit, Lashley versus Henry. Honestly, guys, it was a pretty good build-up. Booker T actually got a bye in the semifinals after Mark Henry injured Kurt Angle. I mean, my God, what the hell? I mean, we're basically saying that Kurt Angle and King of the Ring are like bread and butter at this point. And it seemed like Lashley was getting a pretty good push to possibly be the winner, but we did not get that. Instead, we got possibly the greatest thing that could have ever happened in the history of professional wrestling. We got Booker T as King of the Ring, or as he likes to call himself, King
Booker. Dude, you're gonna hate me. I totally forgot about this one.
Oh my God!
I wrote down Regal and Barrett. I forget Booker.
Oh man, and there's one more. There's one more too that you forgot, but we'll get into him in just a bit. But yeah, again, this is another person who.
Oh God, no, not that.
You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. So for this one, it was one of those moments where I think people loved the King of the Ring gimmick again because it took somebody who was kind of in a slump and he revitalized his character into something amazing. I mean, you had Finlay and Regal. They were joining his kingdom. And King Booker was one of the greatest gimmicks that ever happened in the modern era. Just him, he had his own queen, his actual wife, Sharmell, who basically was just proclaiming, all hail King Booker. They're all saying that. And then he would eventually win the World Heavyweight title from Rey Mysterio, which... of course, a lot of people probably didn't like the fact that Chavo got involved, but that's a different story for a different time. But yeah, he actually went on to have honestly, I think it's a vastly underrated feud with Batista, although we can state the fact that there was legitimate heat between the two of them. In fact, I think Booker T knocked out Batista one time.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was.
I don't remember much of this era, honestly.
I just remember them having like a scuffle, and I think it was Booker T knocked out Batista, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember exactly. But yeah, just if you ever want to see something amazing, definitely check it out on YouTube. There has to be a highlight video. Just look up King Booker, and you are going to fall in love with wrestling again. Just, oh my God, I'm so happy that we're talking about this. But now we're getting into the kind of the slower slump of it. And you mentioned it. 2 years later, we have the King of the Ring back. And here's something about this. I love/hate this one. The winner of this was William Regal. And here's the reason why. Let me explain my reason why, and then I'll give you give the floor to you, Fretz. I loved it because it showed that Regal could be a dastardly villain and that he could wrestle. He showed that he could be literally a guy who could abuse power, and this was something that I thought would definitely help him out with his career. He definitely, in my opinion, felt like he fit the whole King of the Ring gimmick. Kings are of royalty, they are proper and dapper. William Regal just felt like he could fit this moniker. Now, that was the things I loved about it. I mean, just him on the throne, having that look on his face of, yeah, I'm the king, and you can't do anything about it. That lasted for a whole about 2 weeks, and then he failed a wellness policy, and he got suspended. This is why I loved and hated it, because, yes, I understand, pain is something very hard to battle. I just hate that everybody resorts to drugs. It sucks. And this was just one of those things where it's like, we had something good going here. Wellness violation. Damn it. I'm trying not to drop an F-bomb, but it's so hard.
Yeah, I already dropped a few. I'm sorry. No, this is great. This was just fresh off of the not only the Guerrero's passing, but also the whole deal with the Benoit family, and WWE was just cracking down. I mean, this was after Kurt. You mentioned about Kurt Angle's injury. I think that's when he was on his way out of the company during the 2006 one. No, he lasted another year. I don't know when he went to TNA. Anyways, yeah, this was right after all that shit happened, and it was just tragedy after tragedy, and just the PR in the WWE was probably a nightmare, and it was... I don't want to say it showed on TV, but based on who got nabbed, it kind of did, and that was a rough time in the company, and to be a fan, to be honest with you, it was. But the Regal and Punk feud. I mean, I don't want to imagine CM Punk in a crown. I think he would kind of like turn it into kind of like a. I don't think he would wear it. Maybe he would just be like, "Nah, I don't need this." Stomp and just come out and have like maybe didn't he do some kind of king of the no that was best in the world. He would find some way to put it onto a T-shirt. It would be like his taped fist with a crown or something. There we go. There's the gimmick. It's saved. King of Straight Edge. There it is. There it is.
There we go. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Cosmic King. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Oh, we're getting to him. But we got one more person.
There's another guy first.
Yep. This is where I want to do this now. I want to find like a soundbite of you saying fudge, and just from A Christmas Story, there's the narrator just saying, "But I didn't say fudge." I want that to be in there so badly.
Or like, How I Met Your Mother. It's like, "Oh fudge, but I didn't say fudge, kids. I said fudge."
But oh gosh, we'll briefly touch on this, and then we'll have to shamelessly end this series. We go into 2010. King Sheamus. He's okay. He's okay. I'm not putting him on the worst, because I think we do have our worst picked out already. But
not worse than there's one worse than that. But
the two. I can think of two. And then
Sheamus wore for 2 weeks.
Oh jeez. And then he went to like this Celtic royalty deal where he had like a green robe or some shit like that.
That looked cool. Like that snaky kind of crown with like the comically long horns. That looked alright, but you know what? I think Sheamus was having a particular nickname during this point in time, if not before. For like 3 weeks, they called him the Great White.
Oh, that's right.
And that's okay. It wasn't the Great White something, because we'd be stepping on some very sensitive topics, which we will not tolerate on this show, because we are inclusive and everything. But yikes!
Yowie wowie!
Oh yeah, we can go there too.
Right.
We're really glad. Nope, this is not about them. Yeah, the Irish King. That was shite. That was my bad attempt at an Irish accent. I can't do any of these.
No accent Fretch. Hashtag no accents for Fretch. So we round this off mercifully with the final King of the Ring, at least for right now. God, I wanted this to be so good. I am such a huge fan of this man. Why must you, WWE, why do you hate me? King Barrett, the final King of the Ring. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I do have a funny story that I want to say that actually happened during a live event. But we'll get into that in just a minute. So literally, the way he won, hey, it was cool. He got a feud with Neville. It was great. Loved it. What did they do with him immediately after? They had him battle R-Truth, who literally had an aluminum hat crown, a toilet plunger for a scepter, and they're battling just for the crown's sake. Then what happens after that? Hey, we're going to pair him up with Cody Rhodes. Okay, he's going to be the Cosmic King. That's actually kind of cool. What's going to happen? About a month after that, he's going to basically get dumped by Cody. It's like, wow. So literally, not just why? No. This is my boy.
Hashtag facepalm.
Rachel Moon, this is for you. Hashtag facepalm club.
Hi, Kayla.
Oh gosh, Kayla, Rachel Moon. This is it. This is for you. So on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Facepalm.
Hashtag
and they
facepalm
have the
club.
Ascension in this mix too. Like,
Because why not?
Are they still under contract? Where are they? They've disappeared faster than the War Raiders. I mean, the Viking, whatever. The Viking,
whatever the fuck they are. Who cares? Oh my gosh. So
their reaction this week depressed me. They got crickets when they got introduced. Crickets.
My God.
Who 6 months ago were the NXT Tag Team Champ? Yeah, no, we're stopped. No. So Barrett he's maybe the second or third worst King of the Ring because we had. No offense to Mabel. I mean, I loved Mabel when I was a kid, but
years gone by, you've matured. I'm proud of you, Fretz.
a little bit.
All right, so we love King of the Ring. Just WWE needs to know better how to treat their kings. They need to treat royalty better. I think that's all I got to say about that. Anything you want to add, Fretz?
I was going to make a joke about Jerry Lawler, but it wouldn't have landed. I'm tired.
Fair enough.
We'll just go on to. I'll say that next week, folks. Whatever time we record, by the time you hear this on Sunday, it'll be the day of Stomping Grounds. We're recording on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Stomping Grounds is this Sunday, and I keep forgetting that it's that. But maybe we'll talk about that next week when we talk about King of the Ring '99. And I started my Wayback Machine for June '99, and I'll say there's a really cool one, and I'm not going to get into it now. I'm just going to leave that little bit of a tidbit there.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's just take a little commercial break. Let's just compose ourselves after the depressing deals that it was the last few bits of King of the Rings. Not the podcast, of course. Definitely check them out. And honestly, I'll just start off with this. Let's do a plug for Wrestle Addict Radio. So, guys, check out these individuals. Check out these podcasts. They're absolutely amazing because we're a part of this team. We're a part of this family. They definitely deserve the recognition that they deserve. So, we have the Fourth Wall WrestleCast. You can check them out on Twitter at Fourth Wallcast. We have Nacho Mama Soap Opera featuring the one and only Mr. Oos himself at @not_opera. We also have the Gift of Podcast. You can check him out at Gift of Podcast. And of course, we have the trio of the Kings of the Rings podcast, which you can check out at KOTR_podcast. Definitely check them out, you guys. And also be sure to check us out at I think it's at now I can't remember our Twitter handle. Damn it, that's the one thing I forgot to put down.
At Real Effin' Game, and And mine is at the legendary JF.
There we go. So, guys, like I said, we're going to take a little commercial break. We'll talk about Stomping Grounds, and I actually want to talk about some other positive things because I've been doing this thing for a while, and I think it's finally time that I introduce it to the Wrestle Addict Radio family. So, guys, stay tuned. We will be right back. Hey guys, this is NateFNGreat. Hey, have you ever wanted to be a champion but can't seem to really find the money and the time to get a championship belt? Well, you know who's a really good friend of mine? AJ from AJsBelts.com. These guys have a large assortment of championship belts, from classic belts to the modern day belts to championship belts that you would not even believe. And guys, like I said, they work with you very well. With an awesome layaway program, there is no way that you can beat these guys' prices as well as these guys' deals, especially when you can give them a little bit of money every now and then until you can get that championship gold. Coming from a guy who's a champion and a game changer, I'm indeed NateFNGreat. I'm representing AJsBelts.com, proud friends of the Game Changer podcast.
Buzz, guys. My name is Kate Murphy of the Kings of the Ring podcast, and you are listening to Wrestle Addict Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Changer podcast. That is indeed the theme song of Mike and Maria Kanellis, who have signed a 5-year contract to the WWE. And I actually do want to talk about a couple of very interesting deals that happened throughout this week in wrestling, because why not? Let's all hail to the fact that we have a new 24/7 champion in Drake Maverick. My God. I'm so happy, actually, just seeing him dressed up like Carmella. He pins R-Truth, and then he says, "I'm the champion! I'm getting married! Yay!" I'm like, oh my God, no. Drake Maverick is Crash Holly incarnate. I swear to God. And R-Truth's just sitting there like, "Carmella, when you getting married? And why wasn't I invited?" And I'm literally just on the ground laughing. Okay, ugly belt. So much entertaining shit going on with the 24/7 championship. We actually did not get a chance to talk about this last week, but let's talk about the very dark stuff that has been going on with the Firefly Funhouse. Oh my God. Just last week was kind of like the tip of the iceberg, and then we saw the entire iceberg this past week. Holy shit.
Okay, I started to connect a few things here. Remember Follow the Buzzards?
Yes.
We followed the Buzzards right to the leader, Libyan.
Oh, that's...
And Mercy the Buzzard, kind of a Waylon, well, named after Waylon Mercy, obviously. As soon as he said that, I didn't catch Firefly Funhouse until the next. I've been working nights, and I'll be doing that all summer long. So I saw it the next morning or maybe on my break. But I'm just like, meep, help. And I love that. Oh my goodness, his name just escaped me. The horror mask, Tom Savini has been working with Bray Wyatt with his horror masks and everything, and Tom Savini has done like every horror movie you can think of, basically, like the props and the guts and the blood and the stuff. I hope he debuts. I think allegedly, according to things like Wrestle Talk or Cultaholic, that this might have been the last Firefly Funhouse before Bray Wyatt comes back on the main roster. And I hope he is thrust right into a title run. Let's just say this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say a swear. What if Baron Corbin wins the title? Ooh. And the one that takes it off him is Bray Wyatt, or Bray Wyatt were to enter a feud with Seth Rollins. Of course, this would leave Brock Lesnar to possibly cash in on SmackDown, and with the move going to Fox, and if Brock's going to be full-time-ish, okay, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself in fantasy book here, but the Firefly Funhouse has been like the highlight of Monday Night Raw, especially, this week was a watchable episode. It was, from what I saw, like maybe the first hour and a half to 2 hours. It was damn good.
I really wish I could have said that I watched this past Raw, but I think a lot of people noticed that my Twitter was dead during that time. It's nothing against wrestling. It's just that I got so much going on. I work 2 jobs. I'm doing a production of A Midnight's Summer Dream, Shakespeare. Yes, Shakespeare. I am Lysander.
Yes! Nice!
Sweet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am a theater geek.
Is that the one with Puck?
Yes, it is with Puck.
Oh, I actually hope you're going to say Puck, because I would have had like a hockey stick joke in there somewhere.
I think so many
that
people.
was great. That was grade 9, man. We had. I have a side note. This was in grade 9. I had like the English teacher from hell.
Okay.
I mean, this guy was a dickbag. He would like. I almost failed grade 9 English, but he's just like, in to the class, he announced that I had a 45, and that in order to pass, I'd have to just dance in front of the class, Fretz. Just like, I look at everyone in the class, and I look at him, I do it, and then it's like I was ready to punch him, but nope, I'm not getting expelled. Nope. We did that, and we had my one friend who always had he didn't have a feminine voice, but he used it to his advantage because he was one of the females, because we would like have the whole book and read it out as a class. Like, I'd be someone like Puck, then my buddy Ryan would be one of the girls, and then we'd look at him and say, Ryan, are you wearing lipstick? It's like, no, but it was the 90s. So it was the 90s, folks. So for the rest of the semester, we were like, hey, nice lipstick, Ryan. I'm not wearing fucking lipstick.
Nice. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was good. And the 24/7 antics. Like, at first, I looked at this and I'm like, well, the title, the title reveal itself was a bit of a botch because it was peeking out of Mick Foley's bag. Not that John Ritland, get your mind out of the gutter. Anyone follows him on YouTube, he can be kind of dirty, but he's kind of funny. I thought it was like, okay, now you're going to chase everyone. Now out comes the undercard, and like in every single chase sequence is like Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar. I mean, guys, you can be on 205 Live going for the title, or like Noam Dar's on NXT UK. Like, I know they tape like 12 shows in one sitting, but yikes!
Right.
Use these guys, but at least they're getting use. Did you see Drake Maverick's groomsmen photos on Twitter today?
I did not, actually. Are they worth looking into?
Yes, check them out after the show. They're funny. It's like him. It's like EC3's in his wedding party, and it's like him with the title. I'm just like, okay, this all credit goes to, I believe this was on Wrestle Ramble. You know, not Ollie Williams. That's the Family Guy character. You know, it's Gold Rain. No, Ollie from Wrestle Talk.
Ollie Davis.
Davis, thank you. And he likes to like Drake Maverick at camera point. That's funny. He was talking about this thing. What if at the their 24/7 title is going to be the wedding's going to be broadcast there, and then one of two things. It's like either it's going to have here comes the bride, veil, R-Truth, roll up at the altar, or the pastor. It's like it would be like the Eric Bischoff. Like, did I just hear myself say 3 minutes?
Oh my god!
Face reveal, and it's true. It's like if anyone here ever watched King of the Hill, it's like that. There's like a side character on the show, but it was they were watching this TV show called Monsignor Martinez, kind of like a Mexican James Bond. It was like he always had a gun in his hand, and whenever he were to execute his villains, via con Dios, which is like Spanish for "you are dead." Where was I going? Yeah, it's like there's a spot where Monsignor Martinez, like, there's like this thing. He's at there's an altar, there's a wedding, and there's a dress and the veil, and he takes off his face, and it's him, and it's the via con Dios, and shoots him. So we're going to see wedding hijinks. This is going to be a better wrestling wedding than Macho Man and Elizabeth, and Edge and Lita, and Test and Stephanie, and Triple H and Stephanie combined. It's going to be the best, even though Drake Maverick's wife is not a wrestler, as far as I know.
Yeah, as far as we both know. But let's get into talking about this Sunday's stopping grounds. That yeah, that's worse.
Hey man, cutting that Joe. I got me.
Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from? Stomping grounds.
Oh man.
Damn it all. Alright, so we got some matches that we gotta go through. So I actually do have something on the line when it comes to this event. So I'll definitely be posting up a video of my predictions on Facebook, so that way my opponent Bobo from Around the Nerd can definitely see who I predicted for this. But for those of you that did not listen to a recent episode of the Game Changer podcast last week, I had mentioned the fact that Bobo from Around the Nerd definitely had this challenge for me to battle for his Pokemon Stadium title or whatever it is, and I said, hey, you talk about how you're such a big game talker, come down to my reality for a wrestling prediction deal for Stomping Grounds. So he's accepted. The stakes are that if I win, I get a shot at his championship title. If I lose, I would have to, for 1 month, change my name from NateFNGreat to NateTheFN No Show on all social media platforms for 1 month. So we'll see what happens, but I am not intending to lose. I'm intending to beat him soundly because I am NateTheFNGreat and I have the Wrestletic Radio family, or at least some of them, to support me. So let's get right into predictions for the show, you guys. We kick off with the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, the Planet's Champions, against Heavy Machinery. For this, it's kind of easy. I like what they're doing with Bryan and Rowan. I think the Heavy Machinery will get a title shot in the future, just not a title run, I should say, in the future, just not right now. So, easy deal. I'm picking Bryan and Rowan for this one. Fretz, who have you got?
Also, Bryan and Rowan. Heavy Machinery. I think that we're going to see that at SummerSlam. If not a random SmackDown. It just depends on, Bryan's health. I haven't read anything positive or negative about his health. So we got, I'm with you there.
Excellent. So next up we have the Cruiserweight Championship match will actually be decided in a triple threat matchup. We have Tony Nese defending against Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak. So this one I would go in the direction of Drew Gulak, but you brought up something to my attention that I legitimately love. So please indulge us with your theory that you have when it comes to the 205 Live roster, especially the landscape in the future.
Yes, I'm picking Tony Nese because I think, Mike Kanellis, Mike Bennett, whatever you want to call him, they just signed him and his wife just signed their contracts, and I think that Nese, is going to retain here, but maybe either after the match, maybe say on 205 Live, we're going to start to see a setup for a power couple of 205 Live, and that is Mike and Maria. Mike Kanellis, I think, is the next Cruiserweight champion. It's a logical choice, and we're going to see kind of there's been a bit of a petition out there, like Maria is always giving out and complaining about Drake Maverick, and I think through the 24/7 title and everything, there's going to be oh, hey, you're competing for a title, but you're also the general manager. Don't tell William Regal. But hey, you can't do that, and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to have a power couple in 205 Live. It's going to be the Kanellises, and yeah, there we go. So Tony Nese, I think, retains here, although I love Drew Gulak. I want to see more of him versus Kushida, please.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. I'd love to see that. But yeah, I do agree with you. I'm going with Tony Nese on this one. It just seems like the obvious deal. Up next, we have the SmackDown Live Women's Championship as we have Bayley defending her title against Alexa Bliss. And we definitely know that Nikki Cross is going to be in Alexa Bliss's corner because that's kind of what they've been building up to. So for this one, they just gave the title to Bayley not too long ago. I do not see Bliss taking the title away from Bayley here. I think that we're going to be building up to a Bliss and Nikki feud in the future, which I am totally okay with. But yeah, I just don't see Bayley losing the title right now, and just I don't want her to suffer the Sasha effect, where it's like, hey, one title defense, you lose. No. I just don't want to see that. So I'm picking Bayley for that. Right?
Remember, This Is Your Life?
Oh God.
Yeah, it was that feud, that title feud with the same two people. And it's like Bayley just won the title. I think it was at one of the WrestleManias, and then right away, boom, Alexa Bliss just deflated Bayley. Yeah, I'm with you. Bayley's going to retain. I think we're going to, hurt me again, we're going to see Charlotte's going to get back into the mix. Like, we'll have, maybe say, another triple threat at SummerSlam. Bayley, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss. Maybe, you know what, throw Nikki Cross in there. Throw Nikki. Want to play with Nikki. Throw her in there. It's my goodness. She is gold. And it's I like her, mild-mannered, Peter Parker, Clark Kent kind of backstage cool gimmick, without all the coffee. And then right away in the ring, it's just you flip a switch and she's she reminds me of Luna Vachon, kind of, but a lot hotter.
Oh yeah, no, definitely I do agree with that. Up next, we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. God, dude, I want Drew McIntyre to win so badly. I do not see it, though. I think Roman Reigns is going to get the victory, and I think that there's a lot of people thinking, it's going to build up to Roman defeating Shane McMahon. I don't see that.
No.
I still see The Miz being the one that sends Shane packing. So, but I do think that Roman. You know what? Screw it. I'm taking a risk. I'm taking a risk on this. I'm going with Drew McIntyre on this. Roman won at WrestleMania. That's a big win for him. Give Drew McIntyre the win here. So I'm picking Drew.
Maybe this connects because we're getting Roman and Shane at SummerSlam, and for God's sake, this is for the WWE title. There's the theory. We've been sliced.
Right.
It's a theory. But if Shane McMahon is the champ, no. Delete. Yeah, I'm picking Roman. I'm gonna pick Roman.
Hey, fair enough.
Just because. Although, Drew needs a win. I mean, right now, he should be the Universal Champion. Period.
I think
the
this
fact
win.
that he's been relegated to a lackey again. I think he's on the cusp of something. He's gonna get there. He's gonna get there, but it should have happened already. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick Roman just because. I mean, it's just been all them every week trying to get the upper hand. Although Roman came in literally out of nowhere, and it's Kate Murphy's just when it came up the Superman punch out of nowhere. Perfect. Oh, I love Kate Murphy.
we love you, Kate. Hashtag Kate love.
Yes.
Queen love for the Queen. Next up, we have the New Day taking on Cammy in a regular tag team matchup. But you know something? Still could have something involved from this. I thought you were getting up and leaving. It's nope.
Because that's my pick. Sorry, don't have it with me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were literally getting up and leaving. I hate the name Cammy. It's so campy and so stupid.
Yeah, that also that. I was also going to leave because of that name sucks.
Oh man.
Yep.
So you're going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn?
I'm going with them. Yeah. Just because.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because Canada.
In a weird way, I'm kind of going with the New Day just because. So we can move on from this matchup. Next, we have the United States Championship matchup. We have Ricochet challenging Samoa Joe here. Oh my gosh. You know what? Even with that stupid little Ricochet deal that they're trying to put in there, haha, WWE being very clever. Not. I'm very happy that I get to see Ricochet just battling for a championship, and oh my god, I'm watching classic episodes of him and Lucha Underground. It's so beautiful. Oh my god, I'm so happy.
Lucha was kicked off of Netflix in Canada. I'm pissed. Like the first 3 seasons of Lucha Underground were on Netflix in Canada. Oh, and we just got rid of Bob's Burgers. Netflix, come on, man.
Shout out, hashtag Netflix can suck it.
Hashtag cancel Netflix. Hashtag cancel the network. Hashtag 999.
For this one,
and by the way, network, why don't you be a streaming service in Canada? You're just a channel on a satellite dish, which I don't have.
Hashtag Canada needs the network, WWE. Get to it.
Salty.
All right.
Salty Fretz.
Yes.
Going on. Let's get this.
I went with Samoa Joe for this one. It just seems it just seems obvious at this point. Ricochet, he's going to be a champion further down the line. I think people would love to see him be champion now. For me, it's like just give him a little more time. Let him kind of take care of a couple things. Let him not literally kill himself doing the 630 splash, and we'll call it good. But yeah, right now, I just think they're going to have an excellent matchup. I would dare say this could be match of the night between Joe and Ricochet. I'm going to go out on a limb here for an extra point. I'm going to say this is match of the night. I'm going to say that.
I'm with you.
All right, next up we have the Raw Women's Championship, in which we have Becky Lynch taking on the Southern Belle, Lacey Evans. I'm gonna rip this Band-Aid clean off. Becky's winning. There's no way they're putting the belt on Lacey this soon.
Not yet. Lacey Evans is going to get the belt, but I think we're going to see I think this. I'm saying SummerSlam constantly because I think a whole bunch of this crap's going to happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah. No. I definitely do agree with you. Up next, we have the Steel Cage matchup featuring Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. Mr. It should have been me. I'm actually.
It's gonna be me.
Oh my gosh! Now that's gonna be a Backstreet
Every little thing you do. Wait, that's a different song. I don't know my boy bands. Sorry, Zack Ryder.
It's it. Guess what? It should have been me. Somebody needs to make that. Oh, somebody's already got made that into a video or something like that. I want that so bad.
It should have been me, but it's gonna be cool. Yeah, Botchamania did that. Probably Matthew. You got to get on that, man.
Right. This one was easy for me. Kofi Kingston.
Kofi.
As much as I would love to see Dolph Ziggler wear the WWE title, it's not happening here. It definitely is not. I think Dolph's reaching the end of his career. He's going to do more of his comedy shtick, which I'm okay with because Dolph Ziggler can be
it's funny. It's worth checking out. It's really funny. But this Kofi versus Ziggler, I just learned that it was I think it's the most wrestled match in WWE TV history. So this is more than Cena Orton.
That's insane. And
how many pay-per-views for the Intercontinental or U.S. title were Ziggler Kofi? And I think they won their first singles titles off of each other or something like that. Kofi won his first singles title was the U.S. in 2009, 10 years ago. Holy shit!
Right.
That was 10 years ago.
I mean, we know he won his first title against Chris Jericho at that Night of Champions event, but yeah, no, you're right. It definitely seems like they kind of exchange belts off each other, but they still have really good matches. I mean, I'm not going to deny that they don't have really good chemistry. But it does kind of feel like it's the same stale deal with Orton and Cena, where it's just still the same face, still the same heel. But at least we're trying something different with character-wise, with Dolph Ziggler. Now he's just this guy who's being egomaniacal, but he's also showing that he's desperate to be that guy that should have gotten this. So it's one of those things where some people hate it. I love it. I like that Dolph Ziggler has that deal where he's it should have been me doing these things. It should have been me doing this. I'm totally on board with it. But
absolutely.
But getting on from there, finally we have the Universal Championship matchup: Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin with a special guest referee. So this will actually be a 2-pointer, Bobo, if you ever listen to this. So picking a winner as well as who the special guest referee is going to be for this one. So Fretz, I'm very curious, who do you have winning for this, and who is the special guest referee for this matchup? Is it an obvious pick, or is it probably going to be a swerve?
I have a couple of thoughts. The guest referee is going to be Brock Lesnar.
Oh, you think it's going to be the obvious Brock Lesnar pick?
I think it might be Brock or Paul Heyman, or we'll see someone like EC3 Elias. They all got eliminated. I'm trying to think. Roman Reigns and John Moxley. No. Maybe. It's just so hard to pick, but I have this theory. Brock's the ref. Corbin wins. Brock cashes in on Corbin.
You could probably see that. That would be very interesting to see.
Kind of like a fast count deal, or Brock just suplexes and helps Corbin win, and then he's just like, boom, and then F5s Corbin to win.
Nah.
It's just, you'll have, like, it'll be Drake. There was like a CZW guy who's a ref now, Drake Younger. Maybe they'll bring him up and he'll referee the match, or they'll have like I'm trying to think of all the evil henchmen in the heels, like Senor Shelton Benjamin, like who haven't been attacked by Seth Rollins yet, or maybe I just thought of it. What if the referee was Roman Reigns, and something kind of happened where we have a little bit of strife between the Shield, but Roman's on SmackDown, but it's a wild card, pal. I'm a genius.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
So I just think it's going to be like the ref will be like kind of like Drew Gulak or like some the Brooklyn Brawler or something, and Seth Rollins. So I think Seth Rollins is actually going to walk out of this Tacoma Dome as the champion.
Yeah, fair enough. I do agree. Seth Rollins is going to walk out as the champion. As far as who I think is going to be the special guest referee, I'm going to go on a limb here because I think they definitely should go with a bit of a swerve here, as well as possibly an idea of, hey, this is not something we were expecting. I went with the guest referee being Triple H. There's a little bit of history between the two of them. And honestly, maybe it's one of those situations where Triple H is kind of thinking, hey, I need to protect, WWE's investment. Because you have to remember that this could actually plant a seed for Triple H versus Vince feud further down the line.
No.
It probably won't happen. But it's still one of those things where it's like, I wanted to say Brock, but it seems too obvious. So I'm going to go with Triple H on this one. Because it's one of those things where it's like, would he maybe play for Baron Corbin? Would he play for Seth Rollins? Who knows? But I think there's a lot of good stuff that we could see in that matchup. And honestly, we've seen a lot of Triple H, guest refereeing deals. He does a really damn good job. And there's still some points here where I'm just like, I want to see a couple of points where Triple H actually goofs off with Baron Corbin, maybe pedigrees him. But that's just me, because I think that'd be a beautiful sight.
I just got something.
What's up?
Light bulb. Okay, Triple H pedigrees them both.
Oof.
Out comes Brock.
Oh, man, that'd be interesting. And then Brock becomes a corporate guy.
Worse than the Daniel Bryan ending from SummerSlam 2014. Or 13, whatever year that was.
Whatever it was. Either way.
Yeah. I've been watching wrestling for 25 years. Give me a break.
Don't give him any slack. Hashtag
slack. That means you slack. I love you, actually. You're a Raptors fan. You're a parade, you jerk.
he's the what is it? The Buttersworth of the King's Ring podcast. Bootiesworth. There we go.
Bootiesworth, the Kings of the Rings intern.
That's right. I remember that now. God, I'm so thankful I'm not in that role because I would not survive as an intern. I'd be glad to work for Kate Murphy. I'd be glad to somewhat be glad to work for Willie T. But I don't know. There's only so much of King Ricky royalty that I could handle. Oh, am I taking a jab at King Ricky? Maybe a little bit, but that's just me.
I'm not part of this.
I know you're not. This is literally one of those moments where it's like, are we getting too real? No.
Am I going to have to be a special guest referee here?
The special guest referee for like
some... I'll just star you both and walk out like Stone Cold did in 98?
That would be amazing. All right, so we're going to conclude the show with something I've been doing for the last few weeks, and I'm bringing this into the Wrestle Addict Radio fan nation, is that I've been actually doing this list of favorite things that I've had for the last few years of wrestling, last 15 years actually. So what I've been doing is I've been compiling a list of like favorite tag teams, favorite women's wrestlers, favorite male wrestlers, and as well as favorite wrestling matches year by year. Last week was a really good week. Definitely check that out. It also kind of featured a little bit of a advertisement for the show happening in Maryland last weekend. So we're going into this week. We're actually at number 8. The number 8 spot here for tag team, favorite tag team of yours truly's, is going to be two guys who are all about the beer, who's all about the money. They are Beer Money.
Nice.
Beer Money Incorporated was what they were first called, but then they just shrunk it down to just Beer Money. James Storm, Bobby Roode, future Hall of Famers in wrestling. These two guys just absolutely created some great, fantastic matchups, whether it was with the Motor City Machine Guns, whether it was with Main Event Mafia, whoever they got into the ring with, they definitely found a way to make them look good as well as make themselves look good. And you can't just overlook the beer mobile that James Storm had every single time he came down the entryway. It was just legitimately one of the best things you could possibly come up with. James Storm is a genius, and Bobby Roode and him just created so many great moments, so many great matches. Loved these guys.
I wasn't watching a lot of TNA during this point in time, but I go back with Bobby Roode to Team Canada when with Scott D'Amore, Petey Williams, Eric Young. That's when I discovered how great Bobby Roode is. And then he had that searching for a manager thing he did, was like he was in a limo with like 10 different managers, like Bobby Heenan and like Sensational Sherry, like back before they passed on. And I forget who he landed on as a manager for Robert Roode, because he was kind of starting his empire, his Robert Roode Inc. Beer Money Inc. Yeah, DiBiase must have got the lawyers out for that one. But yeah, I've seen bits and pieces. They're great. Like James Storm, like America's Most Wanted as well. Like, what a background they both have. Yes. And Bobby Roode grew up about an hour away from where I grew up, so.
It's crazy how life works.
Kawartha Lakes region represent.
Right. We go into the women's perspective here, and for my number 8 for women's is somebody that I got the chance to meet this past year. Don't have no regrets about it. I even got a chance to just say hi to her and Trish, that being the lovely Lita.
Oh, she's a sweetie.
Oh, my
I met
God.
her too.
She is indeed a sweetheart. She is honestly, I will say this, I think that she is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite redhead of all time. And that's just because it's Lita, multi-time women's champion. She's had so many great moments where she just took her body to the extreme, and she was a part of so many great storylines with her and Trish. They had that unfortunate storyline. I do say unfortunate just because of the circumstances that were surrounding it between her, Edge, and Matt Hardy. But they still created some really great moments, and Lita even got some really good comeuppance during that entire deal. So you can't really say that Lita got, off scot-free. No. She was definitely one of those ladies who took a lot from the storyline. It was just absolutely awesome.
Oh man, Lita is one of my personal favorites as well. I met her and Lita last year at Niagara Falls Comic Con, and they were just so sweet. They were lovely people. And Lita, I remember when she was on. I used to watch ECW. Like we had the ECW on TNN. We got that up here in Canada, and I remember her as Miss Congeniality. And then a couple weeks later, it's like, why is she with Aguila on Shotgun? It's like, oh, he's S.A. Rios now. And she does a moonsault. Okay. And then, when she joined the Hardy Boys, I was set for life for Lita. Just a phenomenal, game-changing, I'm sorry, Nate, women's wrestler.
Well, just remember, you guys have the right to say game changer. It's just that Corey Graves and Michael Cole, they've abused it too much,
And every sport ever. I took a pic. I was going to send it to you, but I took a picture. It was it was either during the Stanley Cup final or during the NBA finals, and it was just something game-changing, something. It's like, yeah, Kawhi Leonard changed the game for the Raptors in Toronto, and he'll do it even more if he stays. Please, Kawhi, stay. Basketball fans know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was funny. I just have to say, last week, King Ricky's like, I hope the Toronto Raptors choke. They didn't, buddy. Boom. Mic drop. Or, no, I'm not going to drop this new mic I just got in the mail.
It's a beautiful mic. It's not happening. We go into the favorite...
I've been messing with this thing all day.
Oh, Jesus, there's so much. We go into favorite male wrestler of the number 8 spot. This was kind of one that I definitely was not going to be able to overlook. That being the sexy beast himself, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, the best in the world at what he does. Guys, he is the master of the list of Jericho. He is Chris Jericho himself. Ever since I started watching wrestling back in 2004, Chris Jericho has been the one guy that just stood out for so long. And little did I know that about a year later, he would actually leave for a little while before coming back. And he's one of those standoutish characters that could still, be entertaining during a matchup, but still be a competitive wrestler. You remember a lot of the stuff that he does, like when he has... I think that, his feud with Christian is kind of one of the best examples of it, where he will basically tell Christian, he'll be like, oh, come on, you ass clown, or come on, CLB, just taunting them like crazy. It's just so funny. And we also got the chance to see him do great stuff with the highlight reel. He does a fantastic job as a heel in and of himself. I mean, when he did that whole deal where he turned completely dark, threw Shawn Michaels into the Jerichan 5000, and just started doing that whole deal where he was talking in a very slow manner, and he basically sounded more intelligent because he used a dictionary. Just that character just maybe got more invested in him because I wanted to see somebody basically kill him. I wanted to see somebody kill this character of Chris Jericho. He then went on to become a face again. He would just find more ways to just create a new character in and of himself. And one of the things I always loved when he always came back to WWE, he always said, I want to do something different every single time I come back. I don't want to just come back the same way that anybody else would come back. I want to do something different. And to his credit, every time that he came back, he was always doing something different, something crazy, which was either, coming in during the Royal Rumble, whether he was doing that whole deal where he just was like apocalyptic type vignettes. I think it was like 2012, I would say, where he first came out and he's just all happy and smiling. He's like, "Come on, baby, yeah." Didn't say anything else other than that. He just continued circling around the ring doing that shit. And even nowadays, where he does that, the Clockwork Orange, face makeup, just everything that he does where he creates this dark reality and dark demeanor to him. It's showing that Chris Jericho knows how to be a presence in the wrestling community. He knows how to be a presence in the wrestling scene. And that is going to show especially in August when we have All Out, when we have him versus Adam Page for the AEW Championship. It's just literally one of those matches that I'm looking forward to seeing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great way to celebrate a 15-year anniversary. My God, I'm looking forward to that.
So, I could go on and on about Chris Jericho. I could spend a whole show on it, but since we've been going for almost 2 hours, I'm just gonna say Jericho's in my top 10. Everything, man, just everything he's done is gold. That's all I'm gonna say about him. He's one of the best.
Fair enough, good sir. Fair enough. So now we go into the final deal, which is favorite matchup, and we are in 2011. And Fretz, I'm actually going to have you take a wild guess on what my favorite matchup from that year was. And I think you only need one guess on what that matchup is.
Oh, 2011. Was that the... No, that was 2010. I'm trying to... Would it be the chairs match? No, that was a different year. It's Punk Cena.
It's Punk Cena, yes, at Money in the Bank.
I was trying to get like a joke answer, something that would involve like Mason Ryan or like the new Nexus or Or like, who was the David Otunga? No, I couldn't think of a joke one off the top of my head. Punk Cena, Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Title in the fridge. Oh hi, what's this? Here's my CM Punk Best in the World DVD.
Oh my gosh.
Right there on the floor.
I think, you know what? I think we need to review that entire DVD in the month of August. I think that needs to definitely happen. We need to just talk about the DVD, go through it, review it, maybe even talk about some of the matches that are on there. I think that would just be absolutely awesome. So stay tuned for that, you guys. We got something awesome you're going to want to listen to. But yeah, like you said, Punk versus Cena in 2011, Money in the Bank in Chicago, Illinois. You can't get any better than that. It's just literally one of those matches that it was so perfectly created by an accidental means, if that makes sense. So basically, we had this deal where CM Punk was saying, "Hey, I deserve to be the number one contender." He becomes the number one contender by beating Mysterio and Del Rio, and then he drops the bombshell by saying, "Hey, my contract is up at Money in the Bank, and I'm leaving with the WWE Championship." Then the following week, we have the Raw Roulette deal, in which we had CM Punk drop the infamous pipe bomb. He got suspended for a week. Cena says, "You know what? We deserve to have this matchup. I deserve to, take on CM Punk." And, there's that whole deal where Vince is trying to do the political way of just saying, like, "No, I'm not going to have somebody walk out with my title. I'm not going to have somebody walk out of my company with my possession," and blah, 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 blah. And Cena has that, golden line of, you're worried about making this meaningless, but if you don't have this matchup happen, you already made it meaningless. That was just so good. And, of course, we had the whole deal where it was, he said, "Okay, you got your matchup, but if you lose, you're fired." We had the lead-up, which was excellently done, which we had Vince McMahon basically trying to do like a contract deal, a negotiation between CM Punk, where he's basically saying, "Hey, we're going to give you all that you wanted. You want to do this, blah, blah, blah." CM Punk is just like, "Well, I looked over your contract and my lawyers drew up a new one. They know that we could do better than that." And of course, he does this whole deal where he's like, "Oh, I want my face on everything in the arena, everything on the ring. I want you to bring ice cream bars." That was the main thing we got out of that one. And then he got the little wackiness to it, but then he also brought the reality to it, where he basically said, "I've had people who love wrestling leave this company because you don't know what it means to love professional wrestling." He drops those names. He still dropped it months later. Let's talk about some of those names that he dropped out. Luke Gallows, Colt Cabana, Chris Masters, David Harry Smith, not David Hart Smith, as he said, Vladimir Kozlov. He mentioned so many people that got left out. In the early year, he actually brought up, Dave Bautista. He said, "Hey, Batista's one of my friends, and you beat him up, so, that's not cool." And he just continued doing that. And, of course, we had the Classic Alliance. And we're going to go full circle with this because you brought this team up earlier, where CM Punk just says, you think that you're like, you're like the Celtics. You're definitely not. You're like a dynasty. You have become the New York Yankees. And yep.
Suck it, Yankees.
And it kind of does go full circle again with that, where you say that, because CM Punk just says, "You know what? Nope, not happening." He rips up the contract. We get the matchup. It's just expertly done. And there's even a point where we think, "Oh crap, we're getting the Montreal Screwjob again," because CM Punk has locked in the STF. Vince McMahon is like, "No, call for the bell, call for the bell." John Laurinaitis runs. We get that awesome moment where Cena just punches him and says, "No, we're not doing it that way. We're doing it my way." He comes in, and Vince, you screwed you up. Got hit with the GTS. CM Punk wins the WWE title. He kicks Del Rio in the face, which is honestly like the cherry on the top of this. And we even get some more toppings on this, because CM Punk, on the barricade, he holds the title. He looks at Vince with that smile, blows a nice kiss to him, and leaves the arena. It was just absolutely built fantastically well. The matchup was just excellently done. It's just so great to see that. And I'll tell you guys this, that CM Punk has not seen the last of this list. I'm going to spoil that right now. He is definitely making a comeback on this list. I can guarantee it.
Boy.
So, with that being said, we are going to conclude this episode of the Game Changer podcast. Like we said, next week we will be reviewing King of the Ring 1999 because honestly, it has quite a bit of the Attitude Era in it, but it also features one of the lesser Kings of the Rings that we don't necessarily like to talk about because, let's face it, they treated him like shit, which is funny because ass comes out of shit, and you know what? I'm just gonna stop right there. So let's conclude it by saying this, you guys. Thank you so much again for listening in to the Game Changer podcast. We love hearing from you guys. We love to hear more from you guys. And honestly, I want to say this, that I want to thank the 15 people that voted on Twitter this past week who answered the question, who was the creepier bastard, Christian or Marty the Moth? Your winner, no surprise, was Marty the Moth Martinez. Let's face it, yeah, he was a creepy bastard. Let's be fair. You can definitely go check me out at Real FN Game. Check it out, you guys, because I got the new poll up there right now where you can bet on what was your favorite CM Punk matchup between the match between him and Cena at Money in the Bank, match between him and Lesnar at SummerSlam, or the match between him and Taker at WrestleMania. That is going to be tough for a lot of people to choose from. Some people are going to be like, oh, this is easy, but no, this match is awesome, but no, this is good. That's going to be tough. So I'm very interested to seeing what the final result is going to be for next week, so definitely tune in, you guys. Also, Mr. Fretz, I do believe that you're doing some really awesome charity stuff for this summer. Please, again, tell us about that, and please, how can we contribute to this great cause?
Yes, if you go to my pinned tweet on Twitter at the legendary JF, I have a link to a donation page to an 8-kilometer walk run in Salvo Beach for Sandfest that weekend. I'll be participating in that and raising money for the Toronto State Kids Hospital Bleeding Disorders Fund. You know, we have raising money that'll help kids like my niece Abby, who has a rare bleeding disorder. It's like clotting is an issue, prolonged bleeding, easily bruising, that kind of stuff. It's just something she's going to have to live with and take medication for. So we're raising money to find cures for bleeding disorders, and it'll help kids like my niece. And yeah, if you can help me raise some money for that, go to my pinned tweet on Twitter at the legendary JF. It'll link to a Sick Kids donation page. So help me out there, please.
Definitely, you guys. Definitely make a donation, make a difference in somebody's life. So with that being said, we are going to end this podcast. Definitely check us out on our Facebook fan page, Wrestle Addict Radio, on Twitter, as well as on Facebook as well. Definitely check out all of our friends from Wrestle Addict Radio at Fourth Wallcast, at Not_Opera, at Gifter Podcast, at KOTR_Podcast. If you want to know some of the people that are associated with the Game Changer Podcast, look in the description here below. Definitely check out all of our Facebook accounts, our Instagrams, our Twitters. Definitely check us out because there's myself, there's Mr. Fretz, Mr. Max Reedy, Agent Cooper himself, VictoriBelleCosplay, as well as Taylor. Definitely check them out, you guys. They are awesome individuals. They're absolutely great. So thank you so much for listening in to this edition of the Game Changer Podcast, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio, and tune in to absolutely more fun and game-changing episodes. Mr. Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. We are here to change the game. Why? Simple, because we can.
We can.
Shock the system.
Boom. Later, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Wrestle Addict Radio Network.
Hey, what's up, you guys? What is going on, everybody?
What up, fam?
Hey, it's me.
What up, oozes?
What's up, guys? This is the Monday Night Delight.
Are you looking for a network that brings you all things pro wrestling? Then look no further. Wrestle Addict Radio brings you a varied source of wrestling content.
What's going on, guys? This is Willie T.
My name is Mr. Fretz. This is your resident Smart Slayer.
Search for Wrestle Addict Radio on all major podcast platforms and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Buzz, guys. My name is Kate Murphy of the Kings of the Ring podcast, and you are listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you are listening.
And you are listening.
Get ready for a war, because you're listening.
Come join the war each and every week as we fight to keep wrestling real.
What's up, everybody? This is King Ricky Rose, and you are listening to Wrestle Addict Radio.